Hey guys, it's a rainy morning, Saturday morning here in California, Malibu. I've got about 10 minutes and I wanted to make a quick video after I sneeze. Oh, don't you hate that when you're about to sneeze and it doesn't come out? So I talk a lot about living inside out, and what I mean by that is I think most people live outside in. They let external forces not only define them, but they wrap their behavior, their thoughts around those external forces, whether it be other people's opinions, society standards, relationships, their own false beliefs that have been formed by external forces, shoulds, all that stuff. So living inside out means pulling from your truth, pulling from what you know to be uniquely you, which is half, and then the other half of that is then showing that in behavior, the execution piece. And I think most people know what the truth is. Most people hear their Yoda, their gut, that voice that they know is them, but they have difficulty in executing that. They have difficulty in driving that, their stake and projecting that into the world. Part of that is fear. Part of that is wiring. Part of that may be because you were never heard growing up, and you're not used to giving yourself what you need or what you deserve. You're used to maybe helping others. Maybe you're really good at it. Maybe you're used to giving advice, but it's difficult to take your own and to execute that. So, two words that I eliminate from my vocabulary: rejection and fear. I'm sorry, rejection and failure. Everyone has fear. I don't see rejection as rejection. I see people don't match. I see that things don't fit. I see that things aren't meant to be. But I don't take things as rejection, as someone rejecting me or who I am, what I do. I see it as everyone has their own version of my story, and everyone has their own opinions, and some are going to match, and we're gonna agree, and some aren't. And I don't take that personally, as I have opinions about other people. So, and then failure, I don't see failure as a failure. I see failure as learning, growth. So you try it, and it doesn't meet your expectations. Then you learn from that process of trying, and then you try again, and you keep climbing. You keep climbing. So there is no failure if you look at not the product but the process and what you gain from the process. So even relationships, if they don't work out, this idea of a failed relationship, I just don't use those words. That's why I used expired. I think things happen for a reason. They're meant, and the gold is in what have you learned through that process, and then applying that to um, anything else, your next relationship or your next business or whatever that is. And it's the continual pattern of getting stronger, more wisdom. So there is no failure. If you start believing in things like failure, suddenly you have walls. Suddenly you stop. Suddenly you are going to block your potential. If you believe in rejection, you are not going to have the courage to tell people how you feel because you're afraid that of judgment and someone rejecting you. So my first tip is to redefine, eliminate those two words from your vocabulary: rejection and failure. Doesn't exist. Reframe that. The other visual, I actually want to give you a visual. You know when a dog is, I love dogs, by the way, and I love them because they're so transparent. But have you ever seen a frightened dog? Um, it's sad because they're so transparent. Their tails underneath their curled up underneath their leg, and they're in the corner, and they're just frozen. Like a little dog, and you put like a stuffed animal or something, and for some reason it's afraid of it, and it's in the corner, and it just doesn't move. It's blocking. I mean, it's completely blocking that dog's potential in the sense that every dog is unique, and the personality that dog brings to the table is it's that's the joy we get out of dogs, right? Licking our faces and playing, and everything that that dog is uniquely its own. And when it's afraid, it's suddenly not unique. It's frozen, and it becomes a statue. And I'm saying this because whenever you are not living inside out, okay, you are that frightened dog in the corner with the tail between your legs, and you become a statue. What's ironic is that people don't live inside out because they're afraid. And if you play out your fear, you're not going to die. Yet, if you live in fear, you're not living. Do you know what I'm saying? So, if you play your fears out, I mean, what's the worst that could happen? So think about what you're afraid of and why you're not able to execute your truth. Whether it's telling someone something you want, or changing careers, or whatever it is that you're going through. Play out that fear. What's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is that you don't acknowledge and execute that, and you don't live. The worst that could happen is you become a statue. The worst that could happen is you're that dog in the corner with the tail between your legs. That's the worst that could happen. And that's happening now. Unless... So if you just attempt to do something, attempt to express yourself, even if it's a little, you're already beyond that. Do you know what I'm saying? The worst is already happening, so it can't get any worse. So it might be helpful to play out your fears, and because most people are really afraid of things, and then when they play them out, they realize that there isn't much to be afraid of. Live inside out, and have a meaningful day. Be well.